Hey, it's me, Freakuen-C, Shiloh Christensen. This is a first read of the first draft of the book that has been so long in coming, and I believe I'm finally ready to start bringing to the world. I'm sitting in a crisis center right now because this has been a lot of work. A lot of very difficult work. I've been through a lot that I have not shared with the world over the past year. Things that are very far-fetched, very difficult to believe, but I believe that they have been a thing. So here we go, yeah? What is consciousness? The greatest journey a human being will ever undertake is not across the world, but inward toward the one question that has never stopped asking itself. Who am I? An invitation rather than an answer. Before we discuss trauma, healing, psychology, quantum theory, meditation, spirituality, or even the Phoenix imprint itself, we must first ask a question that has challenged every civilization in recorded history. What is consciousness? At first glance, the question appears simple. It means being awake. It means being aware. It means thinking. It means having emotions. It means being alive. Each of these answers is correct, and each is incomplete. Throughout human history, no single civilization has completely solved this mystery. Philosophers have wrestled with it. Neuroscientists continue to investigate it. Mystics have spent entire lifetimes attempting to experience it directly. Religions have built entire traditions around it. The purpose of this chapter is not to convince you that one tradition possesses the only truth. The purpose is something much more important. It is to invite you into the same investigation humanity has pursued for thousands of years. By the end of this chapter, you may not have a single definition of consciousness. You may discover something even more valuable. You may discover that consciousness is far larger than any single definition could ever contain. The oldest question humanity ever asked, long before written language, before kingdoms, before science, before philosophy, human beings sat beneath the stars asking questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Why do I dream? Where do thoughts come from? What happens after death? What is the mysterious awareness watching my life unfold? These questions did not begin with modern psychology. They began with humanity itself. Every civilization that has ever existed eventually asked these questions. The answers differed. The search never stopped. The ancient world. The earliest surviving written records emerge from Mesopotamia, particularly Sumer, over 5,000 years ago. These ancient cultures described creation through stories of order emerging from chaos. Although modern readers often interpret these stories literally or dismiss them entirely, mythology served another purpose. It provided a symbolic language for experiences that could not yet be explained scientifically. The earliest civilizations understood that something existed beyond ordinary survival. Something within human beings wondered, something observed, something remembered, something searched. Whether called spirit, soul, divine breath, or life itself, consciousness was already central to humanity's earliest recorded ideas. India and the Vedic traditions. Thousands of years ago, another remarkable body of wisdom emerged within the Indian subcontinent. The Vedas and later Upanishads introduced one of history's most sophisticated explorations of consciousness. Rather than asking merely how the world functions, these traditions asked, who is the one experiencing the world? Within these teachings appears the concept of Atman, the innermost self. Beyond the individual self lies Brahman, understood as the universal reality from which everything arises. Whether interpreted literally, metaphorically, spiritually, or philosophically, these teachings propose something extraordinary. The individual consciousness and the universal consciousness are not entirely separate. Later texts, including the Bhagavad Gita, expand this idea. Rather than escaping the world, wisdom involves learning how to live consciously within it. Duty, compassion, presence, self-mastery, these become pathways toward awakening. China, harmony rather than control. Around the same broad historical period, Chinese philosophy developed its own profound investigations. Lao Tzu described the Tao. The Tao is not merely a force, it is the natural unfolding of reality itself. Rather than conquering life, wisdom comes from flowing with it. Wu Wei, often translated as effortless action, describes living in harmony with reality instead of struggling against it. Confucius approached consciousness differently. Instead of beginning with the individual, he emphasized relationships. Character, integrity, compassion, ethics. One's inner life becomes inseparable from one's treatment of others. Consciousness, therefore, is expressed not only through thought, but through conduct. The Buddha's question. Perhaps no historical figure explored consciousness more directly than Siddhartha Gautama, I believe is how you actually say it. Born into extraordinary privilege, he possessed everything most people believe will create happiness, yet something remained absent. Rather than accepting inherited answers, he investigated experience itself. He observed suffering. He observed desire. He observed thought. He observed emotion. Finally, according to tradition, he sat beneath the Bodhi tree and refused to leave until he understood the nature of existence. Whether one accepts every aspect of Buddhist teaching or not, one contribution remains profound. The Buddha shifted attention from external belief toward direct observation. Instead of asking what to believe, he asked people to observe their own minds. One discovers that thoughts arise, thoughts disappear. Emotions arise, emotions disappear. Sensations arise, sensations disappear. Yet something remains aware through all of it, or throughout all of it. The observation eventually leads many contemplative traditions toward what modern psychology sometimes calls meta-awareness or metacognition. Within this book, we will often use the broader term metaconsciousness. coined by this guy, and Shadowcat. Both copyrighted, thank you very much, owned and provided as a service by Pimp Corp, Psychological Integration and Metaconsciousness Programming Corporation. Yes, we are a thing. Just because we don't have a website doesn't mean we don't have a phone number, 719-900-3255. Centuries later, Greek philosophers approached consciousness through logic and reason. Socrates encouraged relentless self-examination. Plato explored the relationship between reality and perception. Aristotle investigated the nature of the mind itself. Many centuries afterward, René Descartes famously concluded, "I think, therefore I am." His statement transformed Western philosophy. Yet another question naturally follows. If I can observe my own thoughts, who is doing the observing? Is consciousness merely thought, or is thought occurring within consciousness? This distinction becomes increasingly important throughout the remainder of this book. Psychology enters the conversation. Modern psychology shifted the investigation from philosophy toward empirical observation. Freud examined unconscious motivation, Jung explored archetypes and the collective unconscious. Humanistic psychologists emphasized meaning, authenticity, and personal growth. Cognitive psychology examined how thoughts shape emotion and behavior. Neuroscience then introduced an entirely new question. Can consciousness be located inside the brain? Researchers discovered networks associated with attention, awareness, memory, and self-reflection. These are known as the neural correlates of consciousness, patterns of brain activity consistently associated with conscious experience. Yet, even with advanced brain imaging, one mystery remains. Scientists can identify activity associated with awareness. They still cannot fully explain why subjective experience exists at all. This is sometimes called the hard problem of consciousness. Established science, emerging hypotheses, and open questions. Some aspects of consciousness are supported by strong evidence. Attention changes brain activity. Learning reshapes neural pathways through neuroplasticity. Meditation alters measurable brain networks. Trauma affects the nervous system. These findings are well established. Other ideas remain active scientific hypotheses. One example is the ORC-OR, Orchestrated Objective Reduction model, produced by Sir Roger Penrose and Dr. Stuart Hameroff, which suggests quantum processes within neuronal microtubules may contribute to conscious experience. This hypothesis remains, of course, debated. It has neither been conclusively confirmed nor disproven. Still, other ideas explored in this book belong to philosophy, spirituality, or original theoretical synthesis. Throughout these pages, we will strive to distinguish clearly among established evidence, emerging research, and speculative models so that the reader may evaluate each on its own merits. The space between thoughts. Close your eyes. Notice a thought. Allow it to pass. Wait. Another thought eventually appears. Between them, there is a space. however brief, that space has fascinated contemplative traditions for thousands of years. If thoughts come and go, if emotions come and go, if sensations come and go, who notices their arrival? Who notices their departure? Perhaps consciousness is not merely the thoughts themselves. Perhaps it also includes the silent awareness within which those thoughts appear. This possibility forms one of the foundations of metaconsciousness. A working definition. Throughout the Phoenix imprint, we will use a deliberately expansive working definition. Consciousness includes awareness. It includes thought. It includes emotion. It includes memory. It includes perception. It includes imagination. It includes the capacity to observe experience itself. Rather than limiting consciousness to any single discipline, we invite the reader to investigate it through multiple lenses: scientific, psychological, philosophical, contemplative, experiential. Each lens reveals something valuable. None appears sufficient alone. Looking toward the quantum world. For thousands of years, humanity asked what consciousness is. More recently, another question emerged. If consciousness exists, can it influence reality? Modern quantum physics has revealed a universe that behaves in ways profoundly different from ordinary human intuition. Probability, observation, uncertainty, wave functions, superposition. These ideas challenge our assumptions about reality itself. Some researchers have asked whether consciousness plays any role in these phenomena. Others strongly disagree. The discussion remains one of the most fascinating conversations in modern science. Our next chapter begins there, not with certainty, but with curiosity, because curiosity has always been the birthplace of discovery.